Welcome to the Financial Planners Southeast Asia podcast, a show dedicated to driving the positive evolution of financial advice, specifically within Southeast Asia. To join a global community of financial advisors sharing and learning with one another to drive the positive evolution of financial advice, head to xyadvisor.com. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Financial Planners Southeast Asia podcast. Gwen here, and today I am with one of my favorite guests in the podcast. It's Mr. or should I say Kuya Jay Adrian Tolentino, aka the Purpose-Driven Advisor. And so Jay is an independent financial coach for overseas Filipino workers that are based in Dubai, UAE. So he also hosts the Pera and Purpose podcast. So again, welcome to the show, Jay. It's good to have you.
Hey, kamusta? Oh, sorry, I should speak English, by the way. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
How are you, Gwen? I'm so glad
Doing
to be
great.
back in XY Advisors podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the energy. So for those who are curious, kumusta is how are you in English?
How are you?
Yeah. Right, but yes, I'm doing great. So how are you, Jay?
I'm doing great as well. The year has been the opening of the year has been quite well for me, and I'm glad that there are lots of opportunities happening right now in the world, or in the UAE to be very specific. Lots of businesses are popping up here, and that's another thing that I'm doing as well, in addition to financial coaching. Yes, so really excited. I think this is a year full of opportunities for everyone in this part of the world, and I also think that if this side of the world grows, then the rest follows. So that is why I'm really happy to open this year with tons and tons of optimism.
Yes, that's true. And I've heard about the businesses popping up from a podcast that you did with Sir Fitch Villafuerte. So if you guys want to check that out, go ahead and check Pera and Purpose podcast by Jay Tolentino. But if you guys are new to the podcast, please go ahead and listen to the first podcast that I did with Jay. It's I'll put it in the show notes for this podcast, and he talks about his journey in financial advice there. So go ahead and check that out. He has a great story to tell, and he tells about his growth in the industry as well. But now let's get down straight to the topic, because I actually want to talk about financial coaching, what a financial coach does and offers for clients. Now, as I mentioned, you, Jay, you're an independent financial coach. But before we dive into that, can you tell us the difference between a financial coach, a financial advisor, and a financial planner?
That's actually a great question, because a lot of people are also asking me this. And when I was starting, I was also confused about the differences of these three terms. And as you know, based on my story, I also became, I was part of I worked as a financial planner or financial advisor in the UAE for quite some time. And after learning a lot of things, reading so many books, and I've decided to go with the coaching route. So actually, when you think about this globally in global scale, there are actually just two things or two terms. It's a financial coach and a financial planner / advisor. They're practically the same with just a few differences. So let's start with the financial coach first. Well, financial coach is actually good for people who are just starting out in building their wealth. Like those people who could not manage their finances well. They're living paycheck to paycheck. They're always buried in debt. They don't know what to do with money. It's totally disorganized. And that's where financial coaches are actually good at. And they're not practically regulated right now, okay, in these modern times. They're not as regulated as financial planners / advisors. But most of or majority of the financial planners / advisors work with you in terms of investments and future planning. And the good thing with planners is that they are actually they can design a bespoke or a personalized financial plan depending on your need. Let's say you need estate planning. You've built your wealth over the years and you want to minimize your taxes. So financial planners can actually do that if they are certified, if they have the experience, and they also have the right team around them, because usually they also work with lawyers, with accountants to achieve the desirable results of the clients. And usually they're really more strategic than coaches because they really drill down on the numbers as well.
Yes.
So also in terms of regulations, they need to be regulated in the country they are based in. So for me, let's say since I'm in the UAE, when I was working in the financial service industry, we are regulated in this part of the world, in the UAE. And since I'm regulated, I'm allowed to sell investment products and conduct financial sessions or financial planning sessions with the clients. Now, some qualifications that financial planners should have as well, or let's say for us in the Philippines, there has to be this certification for RFP or registered financial planners. Yes. But for me, globally speaking, in addition to me having this certification, I want to have the certified financial planners qualification, or the CFP. That's like the gold standard of financial planners. And some other cases, some has this CFA qualification, the Chartered Finance Analyst, because they are the ones who really are extremely good with numbers. And so the only difference there are different types of financial planners based on how they are paid. So this is where things can change, okay? And I first learned about this when I read Tony Robbins' book. I'm not sure if you've heard, if you're familiar with Unshakable.
Yes,
you've heard. I actually have it here before we started this. Yeah, I think I have read this book, I think 2018, when I was new in the industry, because I've heard that there are different types of advisors. So I learned it through this book. So here are different types of advisors or planners. Number one is there are those who are fee only, okay, advisors that charge either by the hour or a percent of the assets that they manage. Typically, they charge around 1.01% on average. So if you have a huge number of assets, they charge based on their value. So if the value increases next year, then definitely they would still charge 1% on average. But of course, since it's a percentage, it will increase as well. Now, there are also financial planners that are commission-based, meaning they are regulated, they're certified, but what they're doing is they offer products to their clients based on the products that are offered by their companies. Probably they're working with a brokerage firm. Like for me here in the UAE, I worked in a brokerage firm, so I had the access to all the different types of insurance and investment products that I can offer to clients. So that was how I was paid before. I was a commission-based advisor for quite some time. And then there are those who are both, a combination of the two, meaning there are advisors who charge for a flat fee and also earns commissions on the investments that you buy. Globally speaking, those are the two qualifications of the financial people or professionals that you should be working with when you are dealing with your personal finances. And that's the thing. And in the Philippines, since I think in this particular segment of XY Advisor podcast, we are dealing with many Asian or Filipino audience as well. So as I understand, in the Philippines, there can be three types of professionals you can deal with. Those are the coaches, advisors, and planners. So I categorize them based on my understanding and based on my experience as well. So coaches are the same people that I've mentioned a while ago. Now, the advisors for me are the ones who are practically financial salespeople. They are regulated by the Insurance Commission or SEC, but technically they are obliged to sell based on what they are trained for or what their company has taught them. And the last one and the very rare breeds of financial people would be the planners. And these are the people who are only fee only. They are only charged for a fee. They are not offering any. If they would not. I mean, they might give financial products based on the requirements of the client, but they work with advisors. Let's say I know as an advisor for this particular need of yours in terms of insurance, but you do not buy it directly from me. Okay. So, and in terms of the financial planners, there's only one company that I know of, and that is the PFA, Personal Finance Advisors by Coach Efren Cruz. You've had him in the podcast before, right?
Yes.
So he's the only person that I trust, that I know, and who is truly fee only. And in my experience, they are also focusing on what the client's interests are. But in the Philippines, unlike Australia and UK, where fiduciary standards is applicable, meaning when you say fiduciary, they are required by law to act in their client's best interest.
Yes.
But for us, in terms of the financial service industry, we don't have any fiduciary standards yet. And I think that's one of the things that I want to happen in the Philippines, because even here in the UAE, it's not yet as fiduciary as the UK and Australia. And majority of the sales or majority of the financial advisors, wealth planners, wealth managers, or you can name so many.
There's a lot.
There's totally a lot, but they just do they just do one thing. They just sell financial products and earn on commissions on them. Well, but let me just be clear. I'm not against people who are selling financial products, because I have met several advisors who are commission based, but they have a pure heart to help their clients. It's just that for me, when I encountered these terms, I really had to make my personal decision which kind of path I would take. Because for me personally, since I know how to invest and my principles in investing revolves around low cost and simplified investing. When I was in the industry, I could not comprehend the products that are being sold to the investors, because I asked myself, if I am the one being sold by this product, do I understand it? Will I buy this? But since I learned how to invest by myself, and how I know how low cost it can be and how profitable it can be over the long term, then why would I sell this kind of product, right? And if you dig a little deeper, if you run the numbers, if you check the internet, you will find out that actively managed funds that are being sold by brokers, by insurance companies, actually do not perform well over time. They are beaten by index funds. 80% of actively managed funds fail to perform versus index funds over the long term. So having said that, having that knowledge, it was clear to me that I wouldn't sell this. I wouldn't sell a product that would not benefit my client over the long term. And that's me, okay? I'm sure there are advisors in this program who are probably paid with commissions, or they're probably paid by both fee only or commissions, but it's your choice. I mean, you have your own reasons. And it's just that for me, I chose the fee only path. And I think those who are in commission-based structured financial planners or advisors, it's actually not me being against them. It's just that they are. The trouble is that they work in a system that is beyond their control. And it is a system that has tremendously powerful financial incentives to focus on maximizing profits above all else. That is actually a line in Tony Robbins' book, Unshakeable. And when I saw that line, I mean, and I had this conversation with Ayala Raya, one of the renowned financial literacy advocates in the Philippines. It's what he said as well. The system is built the way it is. We are incentivized to sell. And of course, being humans, we definitely we also have to focus on the food on our table, right? And since that's what's the industry has been built for several years already, then that's how we are familiar with. But again, for me personally, I'd rather build my client. It might be is the hardest path of being a financial coach or being a financial planner. But I think that is a better route over the long term for me. And
I do agree. And I can tell that you're one of those people who have read Unshakeable, because I remember the one thing that got drilled in my head when I read about Unshakeable a few years ago was index funds. And so
the ETF, exchange traded funds, index funds, and then I realized, oh my God,
it's not offered here in the Philippines.
It's not offered. Well, there's one. There is one index fund in the Philippines. There is one ETF. That's FMETF. So that's the only one. That's the only ETF in the Philippines.
But there's not a lot of options. So if you are going to invest in ETFs, you have to have like a dollar account and invest it in the US. But that's actually very interesting. And I appreciate that you mentioned the thing about that most financial advisors here, especially here in the Philippines, are commission based, and they're incentivized to sell more. And that's where financial advice are getting a bad rap at times in the Philippines.
Are you familiar? Have you heard of this quote by Upton Sinclair? I've read this as well in Unshakeable, and he mentioned there that it is difficult to get a man to understand something when his salary depends on his not understanding it. Meaning if his main source of income is based on a person's ignorance, then he'd rather not know it. Because if he knows, if he starts to learn it, then he'd realize that probably as a financial planner who wants something best for the client, I want them to make the profits over the long term. And if you do your own research, you understand, you learn that people will build wealth over the long term by simply doing by doing indexing investments. And that's not what your companies want you to do. They want you to sell their products because that's how they make money. And the more fees they offer, the better for you as an advisor, of course, but also good for them as a business. And it's one thing I realized is that every financial planner is also a type of financial advisor. But every financial advisor is not necessarily a financial planner. Because financial planners can offer the same thing, but they charge differently, or they do things differently than an advisor. So those are my realizations.
I think like what you mean is a financial planner can be more rational in providing an advice to their clients, because the decisions that they make on the type of investments that they're going to offer to their clients are not based on the fact that, hey, I'm going to get a commission if I refer them to invest in this, right? So it's more on, it's really based on what the client needs. And and that's why we are doing all these episodes to shake up the industry. So one of the main reasons why I wanted us to talk about financial coaching in this episode, because the Philippine financial advice industry is still at its infancy. And as much as possible, I would like financial advisors who are Filipino financial advisors who are listening to this podcast to learn that there is a wide range of specialties that are out there that they can probably research more, right? So because you mentioned that when you read about this in Unshakeable, you did your research. So I hope that this episode will be a good resource for those financial advisors to learn about financial coaching. So
exactly,
like, let's help them out. Like, what can and can't a financial coach do?
Yeah, so like what I said a while ago, financial coaches mainly focus on helping the client in building their wealth, meaning building. They're still in the stage of organizing things, organizing what they want to spend on, understanding really what the core purpose of financial planning, or why they should organize their finances. Because if not, there's really no way for them to build wealth if if their habits and mindset are not in line with their purpose. So for me, what I actually do is I begin by asking the client the 5 whys. Why do you wanna fix your finances? And then why are you having this session with me right now? What is the main, or why do you want to be out of debt? Why do you want to protect your income from risks? And ultimately, why now? Why not tomorrow? Those are the questions that I ask. And then eventually, if I ask clients like these kinds of questions, they always end up by saying that I want to live life in my own terms. And they would say they want to be happy, but majority of these people don't understand what happiness is for them. And then when I ask these questions, then ultimately they realize that they want to have time freedom, and they want to use the money doing the things that they really love. And that is why having this understanding of their main purpose gives them the awakening that, hey, this is going to be this is a long journey for me. Building wealth is gonna be something that I'll be doing for life. But since I know my why, then the how will just follow along. Like there's a quote saying that the deeper the why, the easier the how, right? So because many people understand their definition of prosperity. Like, I want to have a big house, a big car. I want to finish schools and all. I want to travel the world. So many people would invest, would try different things with their money. But few people understand why. And and I believe coaches should focus more on the why, because the how and the what will just be the byproduct of a person's why. And it's very hard for a person to continue a certain plan if there's no clarity with their purpose. So I would say that majority of my work, if I have clients, is to really drill down on their why. Why? Because it will help them stay the course. And like what happened, let's say now that there's a war, investments are affected, inflation is shooting up, and also with the pandemic, they might sell their investments at a loss, or they might panic because they don't know their why, right? If they're investing for the long term, for the next 20 years, then by understanding that this is for my retirement, then I should just enjoy the ride. It's part of my investment journey, part of my part of what I'm doing right now. So it would give them peace of mind, versus those people who just do the shortcut of, okay, I want to make the best returns, like 10% returns. So I'll put in the stock market, but they don't know the time frame, right? So let's say they need the money in the next 2 years. So it won't really be an effective plan for them. So that is why in every session that I make sure that there's clarity as to why this person is doing it. If I always ask the client that, okay, there will come a time that you will feel impatient, you will feel bored, and you will get lost on track. Now, when that time happens, you can contact me, or you can go back to this plan that we made. Go back to your why, the first thing that you've written here. This is why. Okay, so that you will stay the course. You will continue with your journey. So yeah, but for me, since again, what I mentioned a while ago, I'm based in the UAE. So technically, since I chose not to be part of the financial service industry, but I had these certifications of a financial planner. So I just make sure that there are certain disclaimers since I'm based here. But if I'm based in the Philippines, I can act both as a coach and as a financial planner. So that's the only difference. And the I think my advantage versus the others who are here to only sell products is that I both have the personal experience. I got scammed. I was in debt. I lost money in legitimate investments. And I also have professional experience. I have the RFP certification. I have the Chartered Insurance Institute award in financial planning and award in investment planning. When I was working in the industry, I made sure that I get all these certifications done. Not because I want to build a brand, but because I want to show people that I'm serious in my craft. And until now, I make sure that although I'm no longer in the industry, I keep myself updated every day by reading books, by reading the latest trends, even cryptocurrency, blockchain. I study it as well because I believe that is the future. And I think if you want to work with a coach or anyone or a planner, that is one thing that you have to find in that person. The character of that person, the hunger to learn is for me is a top priority. So those are the things that you are going to look at as well.
Yeah, and so very true, right? That, and especially with regards to money, you don't want to invest your time with someone who isn't hungry to learn more, because let's face it, finances, money, the economy, they're all tied together and it's very volatile. So if you check the stock market every day, it would be like it's red and then it's green and then it's red and it's green. But and as you said, you have to get back to your why. And sometimes that's very difficult as an individual. And that's where you need a coach to help you sort through your feelings and find the rationale around it, that this is how the economy works. And I can tell you for that based on my professional qualifications. Like, I'm not just saying this to you as a friend. I actually know what I'm doing, because I was taught about this. I got my certifications. I took exams and whatnot, right? So it's very interesting to me that you mentioned that you are an RFP here in the Philippines, but you can't practice it in UAE. You can only practice financial coaching. So as a financial coach in the UAE, what can't you do for overseas Filipinos?
Yeah, well, I cannot give them. I cannot manage their funds. Definitely, they can't give me they can't like give me their logins, or they can't let me do the things that they want me to do, because in the first place, I don't want to do that. That is tedious. There are other things that I love doing in life. I mean, financial coaching is very deeply embedded in me, but I still have curiosities that I want to explore, and I don't want to deal with that, with the intricacies of managing other people's funds. I want to give them the skills and the mindset of how to be a long-term investor, but I don't want them to be dependent on other people, because I always tell my clients that your money is your responsibility. At the end of the day, whatever happens to your money is your fault. You can't blame the scammers, because they're doing their job. They're scamming people. That's their job. It's your fault to protect your money. And it's your responsibility to protect your money. And also, if you deal with coaches, you deal with planners, you also do your own research, because some of those people have their own intentions. Why are they giving you this advice? You have to ask them as well, right? And that is why even mentors, even the mentors I have, even Coach Efren, my mentor, I even ask him why this is the advice that you're giving me. Why is this your practice? And then I even asked him, why are you not investing in the stock market? But you were a fund manager. And then he told me that my business is more profitable than the stock market. At first, when I heard that, I couldn't understand it. But when I realized, when I started meeting so many business owners in the UAE, I soon realized that yes, the business is also a type of investment that if you really know what you are doing, then you'll definitely make more money out of it. So those are my realizations here. And what else? When I was in the industry, since I'm commission based, and I also have this reservations, I think, in terms of selling actively managed funds, what I do to keep me afloat is what I did to keep me afloat is to create another business. I've opened, or I've co-partnered or co-founded a creative design company, which will help me at least sustain my day-to-day expenses. Because again, if you are a fully commission-based financial planner, and there will be a time that you will also feel financial pressure for yourself personally. You might encounter financial problems in the Philippines, financial problems here, because some clients may not pay regularly. They might have their own financial problems and they wouldn't pay on a certain month. So commissions will be retracted, will be sent back. It will be like refunded from us. And my budgeting will be totally a mess as well. So if a financial planner or advisor is fully commission based and that happens to them, then they might be influenced to, or they might be forced by their circumstances to offer products that give higher commission just for them to sustain their current standard of living. And for me, that is totally not acceptable. I don't want to sell a product that has this, that will benefit, not because it would benefit me, but because I am pressured by a financial need to give this product to this client, even if he or she doesn't need it, but because I have a need for an urgent financial matter. And that is why I partnered with my friends to build a creative design company so that I'll have another source of income. So I think if you are really looking for someone to partner in helping you build your finances, one or a couple of additional requirements is that, does that person understand business? Does he have another source of income? Because if this is the only source of income for himself or for herself, then there might be a time that the advice that this person is giving me can be biased because he has or she has this financial need to attend to at that time. And it my interest may probably secondary or probably last, because I've also met advisors who are in debt, who are their finances are a mess. And I said, I don't want to be surrounded by these kinds of advisors, you know? So you when you are in the industry, you'll definitely see all these things. Although there are some as well that are doing really well, but there are still a lot of advisors who have their own financial problems as well. And I think if you are in the industry, you have to manage your financial matters first before you deal with your clients, right? So
and I think it's that's true, because what's interesting is I spoke with a lot of financial planners in Malaysia, right? And I actually I asked a couple of them, what does it take to be a financial planner in Malaysia? And one of the things that are required from them is that they have to have a good financial standing. Like they have to maintain it every year because they renew their certification or their license every year. And that is something that I thought would have been a good criteria for financial advisors here in the Philippines, because we don't have that kind of criteria.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I feel like we have to walk the walk, talk the talk. And something that we really need to work on in the industry, right? And now, which brings me to the question, what are the specific types of services that you can offer to clients as a financial coach? Because I feel like even financial advisors can be your clients.
Yeah. Yes. I had a client in the Philippines who was a financial advisor as well. She's just starting her career. And as a coach, like what I mentioned a while ago, it's mainly about being an accountability partner, building a plan to get out of debt, to increase their income, how they can increase their side hustles. Those are some of the things that coaches should offer their clients. Because again, their main problem is, number one, most of them and many people in this modern times still are struggling in increasing their income, because that should be one of the main focus initially, because you can only invest so much. If your income is limited, then how can you invest, right? So as a coach, you should offer opportunities or options for clients who need to increase their income. Like for me, I've built my network in the UAE of business owners that if I met a certain client who requires or has certain skill set for, let's say, as a makeup artist, I know people in the filmmaking industry. I know a friend who can refer her to, so that she can do it as a side gig. And I always require my clients to have not just one source of income. They have to have at least two or more, because again, our limitation in investing is mainly limited by our income. So our income is our ultimate wealth building tool, as I've heard Dave Ramsey always talk about on his program. So that is actually true. Even I still find ways on how I can make additional sources of income for myself, so that the path or the journey would be easier. Like for me, I'm not just doing coaching. I'm also doing LinkedIn strategy, because I learned that along the way when I was doing content. I earned from that. I also I just recently shifted my career here in the UAE. I'm a business setup. I'm a business development manager for a business setup company. And the good thing there is I always speak to business owners. And that's how I widen my network as well. And what else? I also am a consultant for a startup company for their particular program, client acquisition program. Those are the things that I do on the side that I don't usually tell people, because again, I just want to be focused more on social media as someone who helps people in organizing and making their financial matters much easier for them. So, but then again, on the side or on the background, I still do a lot of things, and I'm also paid by some companies to conduct talks. Like next week, I was offered by a developer to conduct a financial literacy session for their clients. So those are the things that I also do, and that's how I also help clients. With my experience, I give them some tips on how they can actually leverage on the skills that they have, because their skills are their resources. They just don't know it yet, but other people need their skills for their business, and that's how they can make money out of it. And again, what Tony, when I saw Tony Robbins here in Dubai, he said that money is not a problem, tools are not a problem, people are not a problem. The problem is your resourcefulness. Resourcefulness is the ultimate resource. And as a coach, you have to also teach your people, to teach your clients how to be resourceful in this modern time. So that's those are the things that I also do for my coaching.
That's true. I have a mantra that I started, I think, last year. It's just to earn more, what you said, spend less, and then invest the difference. So that's the thing that I always try to remember myself, because let me tell you, all right, each and every person that I know would rather stay and Netflix and chill, right? I think everybody wants to do that. But if you have a goal, and if you know where you are heading, like it's a clear picture in your head. That picture in your head will enable you to stand up, turn off Netflix, and go be resourceful. And so, and I think that's a good way to define what a coach is, right? So because you're a financial coach, you are still a coach. So if you can get up by yourself, this coach will help you, will motivate you to get up, and then try to help you find ways, as you said, that you can provide them with advice on how they can leverage on the skills that they already have. They don't need to, I'm sure like everyone has a specific skill set that they've cultivated over the years, even if it's like, do you have clients who are just fresh out of college, by the way?
Yeah, I actually do this for free for students. There's one, well, she's not per se an active client. I had a session with a client. I think she was 17 or 18 years old. Yeah, I think she's 18 because in the Philippines it's 18, right, to get for her to qualify for life insurance, because she's a breadwinner. Yes. But she's earning so much, like 35,000 pesos as an 18-year-old, doing online things like digital marketing.
Wow.
She was also a scholar for Axie Infinity. She was making really good money when I coached her. And I told her that if you're the breadwinner, then if you're earning this much of income for this past few years, then you have to protect your income as well. So I recommended her getting, at least since we talked about insurance, it's about getting term life insurance, because that's the cheapest form of insurance, and that gets the job done. So. Those are the things that I do. And also I always make it clear for my clients to focus on the two skill set that you need in life. Those are your professional skill sets, which will help you increase your income, like I was saying a while ago. And secondly is your financial skill sets, because a lot of people over the long years would eventually grow their income, right? But so many of them still lose their money when they retire because they did not develop their financial skill sets. And again, when you talk about financial skill sets, it's not just about earning. That's just one. So you earn it, you save it, you spend it, you invest it, you protect it. So those, and then the last skill is you give it away. I mean, for me, those are the things that you do with your money, right? Yeah. So many people are so good in increasing their income, right? And many people are so good in spending unconsciously. And many people know how to borrow money. But very few people understand or know the importance of protecting it through risk management and growing it through investing. And that's how financial coaches with the right qualifications can help you out. Because like what I said a while ago, coaches can be just the basic, can teach you the basic ones, like how you increase your income or what. But there are coaches who has the skill set and the mindset and the heart of a financial planner that can get you all these results. So that's how I usually help my clients through the services that I give.
Right. And so because we're talking about those the things that you offer, like how do you make a living out of being a financial coach? So you mentioned that you don't get commissions. You are not salary based. So you are a fees only financial coach. Now, and you also mentioned that you have like other things going on to help you earn more. But as a financial coach, if you don't have clients, like in this week, you don't have a client, how else do you earn money?
Yeah, that's actually a good question, because sustainability is always part of the equation when you're talking about coaching and all, right? Because for me, there's really a fine line between this as an advocacy and as a business. And
Mm-mm.
if I want this advocacy to be sustained, then I need a business to sustain it. But at the same time, I also want it to be a business so that I can do this for the longer term, right? And for financial coaches, there's the only way to really sustain it is to have more clients, more coaching sessions, to have regular, let's say, there can be new clients and then retaining clients. Like next year, there'll be another session to see what happened for the year, or sessions like quarterly, semi-annually, or annual coaching sessions just to keep you afloat. Or you can also there are also coaches who go to different companies to offer financial wellness programs for their employees, because there are because definitely many employees right now, many millennial employees are stressed with their job. They're stuck in the job that they don't like, but they are forced because number one, they have to pay the bills, and number two, they're probably in debt. Most of them are in debt, and they don't really know how to manage their finances. And the value proposition for this for employers is that if a person can manage their finances well, and by the way, this is research based. I think this is research by PwC that many people are stressed with their jobs because of financial reasons. Productivity is hampered, absenteeism increases, and then lots of complaints happen, or many employees are unsatisfied with work because they always think about their financial problems, the money that the money that they need to send back home, or the bills they have to pay, affect their mindset, their mentality, their capacity to work. And because of that, profits can ultimately decline because you have unhappy employees. And that is why in so many of those employees would ask for a raise. And it's not actually, sometimes it's not the salary it's not their salary that's the problem. The real problem is how they manage their salary. And if employers would understand this, then they would see the value of financial wellness programs. Then they can work with financial coaches to conduct one-on-one sessions for their employees, so that it can be part of their employee engagement program for their by their human resource management or professionals. So that's how I can see how, and the last one other thing that financial coaches can make money is through, of course, regular speaking engagements with corporations, organizations, or communities. Or if you have a book, you can sell it, right? Because
I think that's one of the things that I really like to someone point out, is that you can actually make a book. This was mentioned by Clayton Daniel on a podcast that we had a while ago, is that you can actually make a book, and this will help you
build
solidify and build credibility, because having a book, well, aside from bragging rights, it's one of the things that when people see that you're an author, it automatically places you on top of other professionals in the same field as you.
True.
So thank you for bringing up.
That is in my bucket list as well. Yeah, I've also read that. Yeah, instead of giving a business card, give them a book. That would totally change everything.
Yes. Yeah. I remember either reading or hearing that from someone else as well, and that's, I think, true, because and it has worked for a lot of financial advisors in Australia that I know who wrote a book, and then they actually use that as leverage in order to get their foot in the door to conduct seminars in businesses, get to screen time on TV, etc., etc.
Yes. And one other thing, in this modern times, coaches should put out content online, because that's how they build their credibility. In LinkedIn, I'm quite active in LinkedIn. There's many of my paying clients are in LinkedIn. They're not on Facebook. And there's one time when there's one person who booked a session with me because he saw me on LinkedIn, and he said that the video that he saw on my page was the defining factor for me, for him to get a session with me. So LinkedIn, also, you have to take it seriously if you want to have a coaching business, because that's how people are perceived. It's like your resume for them. I mean, LinkedIn these days are not just used to find jobs. To be honest, I never found any job in LinkedIn, but there's business in LinkedIn. There's money in LinkedIn, definitely. And one other thing is to have a podcast or probably a vlog or anything that you're comfortable with. So for me, I found my comfort zone, at least in creating a podcast. So that's how when the pandemic hit, I started a podcast for myself personally, and then I grew my network of different financial advisors in the Philippines, which also helped me become more credible and a respected person, if I may say, in this industry, in the UAE as an overseas Filipino as well. And it also gave me an opportunity to meet more people, meet more clients, and then give speaking engagements. And I think it's also one of the reasons why I got the chance to speak in Congress, in the Philippine Congress.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah.
So I mean, putting out content is a mandatory thing for people who are doing coaching or doing financial planning. It's a must. It's like a type of marketing activity that you need. It's low cost. It's bootstrap. You just have to invest time. And again, like what I said a while ago, this skill set that I learned, content creation, I also make money out of it by helping other people create their own content, because I've done it. I've been, I would say it's quite successful, but not as successful as other content creators that I know. But to me, it gave me the results that I didn't expect, that I thought I was just here to, the reason I had this podcast was to just record the conversations and share it with the audience. That's it. I didn't expect anything else. I didn't expect any clients out of that.
Yeah.
But I realized that it can be an additional source of income, because some companies want to be in the podcast to sponsor it for a certain season or a certain episode. So yeah, I mean, that's my mantra for the last 2 years. It's like to monetize everything. I mean, anything and everything. So.
Oh, that's true. Because I learned about you through your podcast, right? I remember Googling finance Filipinos, and your podcast was one of the search results. And I listened to it and said, this is an interesting person. And I Googled you and I found your LinkedIn, and that's where I connected with you. So one of the, I really do. Yeah. So I'm actually a very big believer that financial planners, financial advisors should have their own podcast as well. And also definitely hands down, LinkedIn, social media, one of the best ways for you to leverage yourself, to get your message out there, and to provide a reason why clients should reach out to you. And we had this great conversation with one of the financial planners who are doing great in LinkedIn as well. Her name is Vivian Chen. We had the podcast as well, talking about like how it's actually difficult. I don't know if you find it difficult, Jay, but for some advisors or some people in general, it's hard to post in LinkedIn. But it's actually very profitable, and you just have to have the conscious effort to do it on a regular basis. So, and that's why I remember now the thing that I wanted to ask you, because you are actually doing such a great job in posting in all of your social media, right? Especially in LinkedIn. I always see your posts. You're very articulate in what each podcast is. Whenever you have something new that's going on with you professionally, I remember you recently did or attended a bootstrapping like business seminar, right?
Yes.
And you are very consistent in posting that. And I feel like if I'm a regular person who just sees that in LinkedIn, I'd say, hey, this guy is really serious about learning and continuously learning about finance. And that's, I think, one of the like gold mines that some financial advisors haven't tapped yet, but they should now. And one of the things that can help you find clients as a financial coach. So I want to talk about that. But before that, I just want to ask, how do you actually become a financial coach? Like, is there a specific certification that you need to go through, a program that you need to attend?
You can be a coach if you have the results that the people need, right? And not necessarily certifications. It's not really required because there are so many coaches in the world, right? And in order for a person to be to be a coach is to deliver the results that what people need. So basically, the entry level, the barrier to entry is very low, right? You just have to be that person who had the results. And if you had the results, if you tried it for yourself, right? Like for me, the losses that I made for the last 5-6 years that I've been doing this or being an advocate of financial literacy has been more. I've encountered more losses than successes, and that is why when I coach people about their next step in their finances, I immediately tell them that this is what's going to happen to you. I've encountered this. I've encountered these kinds of people that you're going to talk to in the next few months or years or what. And here are the results because I got it documented. And that is why you need to document your life journey, right? Okay, this was me 3 years ago. This is what I was doing. And I'm not just telling you this because I've read it, right?
Sorry, Jay. I remember that your previous self you were a spender in your past life.
I was a spender.
I remember you like shoes.
I buy shoes for a living. So I buy shoes just to impress other people I don't like, right? In the office, just for me to feel that I'm much better than them. And that was my life. And I got it documented on Facebook. So I show that to my clients. When I do my talk, I even show them how I lived in a tent in the UAE just to save money. And that I did part-time work. I did construction work at least. And I also did this, I cleaned a yacht's engine room to make money.
Wow.
I got it documented. I have a picture of it. I've done those things to tell people that these are the things that I've done in the past. You can do it if you want to, and these are the experiences that I saw, and the results that I encountered. But my results can be different from you. But as a person who has done this, this can happen to you as well. I mean, coaches don't have to be 10 steps ahead of the person that they're coaching. They just have to be 1 or 2 steps ahead to be a coach. But definitely, if you're really serious in this kind of industry, you have to do your part. You have to learn. You have to be always hungry for learning. Like what you see in the background, like there's so many books here. They're not really required, but if you really want to be different from the rest, then you have to do the extra work. And also you have to always keep on building your network, because your network will eventually become your net worth, and your net worth and my network are the network that I also share to my clients. So it's like an added value to them, that if they gain access to me, then they also gain access to my network. It's like a free pass. It's like a shortcut for them. But eventually they still need to do the work. They have to build relationships with them. But I can open the gates for them. Since you've given your trust to me, then I'll give my trust to you as well as your coach. So those are the things that being a coach is not that hard initially, but if you really want to do this for the long term, and again, you need to understand why you're doing it for the long term, right? And definitely it's not for the money, that's for sure. And if you want, if it's something that you want to try, then you can look back at your experiences, at your mistakes, financial mistakes in the past, and see how you overcame that. Let's say you were buried in debt. I know someone who was buried in debt for like 600,000 dirhams. That's more than 10 million pesos, I think. She got through it. Then she became a debt coach because she overcame that problem. And then start from there. Okay, I'm an expert. Like for me, I think I'm doing, for coaching debt and scam, I don't charge people for that because they're already in that grave problem. So why would I charge them, right? I just tell them that your mode of payment is you overcoming your debt. That is the only way you're gonna pay me back, and that's how I practice that particular thing. So like for me, I got scammed. I help people how they spot and stop scams or not, or have make them sure that they won't be scammed again, or how they would teach other people as well. So yeah, it would really boil down on your personal experience at first, and then eventually you have to grow professionally as a coach, learn how to coach people, the right way of coaching people. I'm still learning, and I'm sure there's a lot of things that I need to learn, because like for this episode, I talk so much, right? So it can also be a problem for me. So
it's okay, but I think I like what you said, that you're still learning how to coach people as well. So I guess because a financial coach isn't also just someone who knows the ways to get better at money. They also need to be someone who actually knows how to coach people as well.
Yeah.
And that is a journey in itself, right? And I just realized that right now, like not everyone can become a financial coach right away, because you also have to have the skills to translate the things that you've learned over the course of your experiences to in a way that can positively help someone else. Because coaches, I feel like coaches know how to communicate a certain idea to another person in a way that that person can consume it and then apply it. Yeah, because
it takes time to learn that. Yeah, because how you turn a complex subject to a simple one takes time, because that's one of my problems as well in the past. The other person would not easily understand. So you have to learn how to make analogies and comparisons so that people can easily understand what you're saying. And the other thing than being a coach, you just don't focus on the money aspect of life. Like for me, I focus on the 4 areas. Of course, my 4 F's, as I always say: finances, family, faith, and fitness. So those, to be truly wealthy, you don't just focus on money. You have to touch all those 4 areas of life. And that's how coaching can help people live a balanced life, at least, or a harmonious life, not just financially, because all these things, financially wealthy, being fit, physically healthy, and having great relationships, are just byproduct of the things that you are learning on a day-to-day basis. So I mean, financial coaches are somewhat similar to life coaches if you dig it a little deeper. But again, it's a different thing that I don't do yet, but probably sometime in the future. I don't feel like being a life coach. I just want to focus on finances right now, because anything and everything in life is affected by finance. So that is why I want to touch on that subject more than the other areas, but definitely they are interrelated.
Right. So yes, and I think a financial coach, as you said, is a great way to help people, but it's not for everyone. But it's something that a lot of financial advisors, especially in the Philippines, can really look into if they are very serious and passionate about really helping their existing clients or other people, especially on matters that they've already gone through. So like for you, you've already been scammed, you were in debt. For me personally, I actually love budgeting. So I can be a budgeting coach, a finance coach that
you can start definitely with budgeting. That's how I started as well. I did envelope budgeting for myself. I had physical envelopes. It gave me the results. I started
that when I was 18.
Yeah, so you are an expert already. You can do coaching as well for budgeting. Yeah, you can start with that definitely. And I tried different types of budgeting, different apps, different Excel sheets. So yeah, you can start with that definitely. I think that's the starting point of every coach: budgeting, or getting out of debt, or managing finances. That's the first step for many. But for the rest, to those who are really serious enough, they would go with investing as well?
Yes, some of the friends that I know are actually financial advisors who are really good at investing. Like they were traders before they became financial advisors. So those are some of the people who, if they're very serious about helping other people, can really start and hone in on that their expertise. And if you want to be a financial coach, but you feel like you don't have those expertise, you can just go ahead and, as you mentioned, dig inside yourself, find out like all of the financial mistakes that you've already done, and see how you were able to overcome those and become better and translate that into a coaching business. And that can be on top of whatever it is that you're already doing right now. So I really love that advice from you, Jay. So I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know that there are a lot of things that we can talk about with regards to the subject, but maybe a podcast for another time. But for now, what is your advice for all those, for our listeners who are interested in becoming a financial coach?
Yeah. So if you want to be a financial coach, again, you start with your experience, your personal experiences, and you look for a pain point that you really want to solve. What is that thing that keeps you late at night? And why do you want to do it? Why do you want to solve that problem really so bad? You can start with that. And to me, when I encountered so many financial problems 5 or 6 years ago, that's when I realized that, hey, this is not just encountered by me. It's not just a problem that I'm facing. It's also being faced by, or being experienced by, so many overseas Filipinos. Then I told myself, then probably I should focus. I should try. I was just curious at the time. I wasn't really serious. It wasn't a plan to be I never even planned to be part of a financial service industry. It was never. I'm not good in mathematics. I'm bad at it.
Yeah, me too.
But there's just, I then realized that success in money is mainly behavioral and not analytical. So I brushed it off and then focused more on improving my behavior personally. And then when I somewhat mastered my spending habits, how I should see needs versus wants, and spending with intention, and I started to master that, then I saw the results. And unfortunately, I was still ignorant and greedy in terms of investment, so I lost money from that. And that's another thing that I had to learn. So again, you start with one thing that's really challenging you, that you really want to solve for yourself. And then when you see the results, try to see if it's also a problem of other people. And then when you see that there's a possibility that you can help, it's always about the heart of being a servant for me. You really want to succeed in this, you have to really serve more people. And you try it with yourself first. And then once you see the results, you try it with other people, with some few friends. I started with my flatmates and then my office mates. And then they said, hey, you're good at this. And then maybe I should try it. And then I read Purpose Driven Life, book of Rick Warren.
That's a very good book. Yes.
Yeah, to give me clarity. Then after 3 months, I resigned, shifted my career. Of course, with some money in the bank saved, I used that to as my, it's my capital for this industry and all. And everything was history. So it just started with curiosity, definitely, but with the pain point that I want to solve for myself. And from there, just snowballed. So,
yeah. And now you're one of the leading financial coaches.
I wouldn't say I'm leading now. You should expand your network.
So you're good. I saw you in Congress, so I know you're good. So thank you so much, Jay. One of the things that I really want to promote here in the podcast is to provide a better, an avenue for great conversations to start. And I hope that the listeners that are out there would start a conversation around, hey, maybe I want to be a financial coach. So again, thank you so much for diving into this topic with me. So before we formally end the show, if there are listeners out there who want to become a financial coach, but would like your 2 cents or your advice, your personal advice, or if there are people who want to take you as a financial coach, where can they find you or reach you?
Yeah, so they can find me on LinkedIn. Full name is Jay Adrian Tolentino. Yeah, you can easily search me or search for my name. And if you want to see the conversations I had with much more experts in the field of financial, of personal finance and financial independence, you can go to you can visit my Spotify podcast, which is Pera and Purpose podcast. You can just type Pera and then it would immediately pop out there. It's easily you can easily find it. I have a website, but I'm still trying to build a course for people to because here's what I realized. I cannot serve more people if I'm trading my time every now and then. So I'm planning to build a course so that the things that I'm teaching can be done, can be accessed 24/7 or by anytime, anywhere by people. And I don't want to charge that course for a very high price. I will make sure that it's less than 1,000 pesos for you to build your at least help you organize your finances and all. So I'm still building that course. I might launch it next month or in the next month or two, but definitely
almost there.
Will be out. Yeah, I still have I have the outline already. I have a team who helps me for this, and it's a project that I also want to do in addition to having a book. So those are the things that are coming up for me in the next few months. So hope you can support the advocacy and all as well.
Oh, definitely. So I love that you're really, really hitting all your goals. I remember that we were talking about this last year, that you were still, the idea was still in its infancy. You're still planning to do it. So I'm glad to hear that it's in the works. Can't wait to see what it looks like. And I'm sure a lot of people will find it very useful, and looking forward to your book as well. So again, thank you so much, Jay, for being in the podcast. As usual, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Have a good one.
You too. Take care.